Dale.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for everyone that has joined to watch us. I'm here with Vasco today to present our international friendly against the team of China.
Yes, here we are. First time in a long time casting a tournament, so let's see how this goes.
Okay, so as first, sorry for being slightly late. We have a little bit of issues with the the stream to get the feed going on, but everything is solved now. For the first game, we have the teams on the bottom. It will be me against Yunfeng. Uh, so I will not be casting my game. I will have another person joining us.
Oh
I
boy.
will just switch the the casters right now, and in around 1 or 2 minutes, we'll be right back. Okay? Okay.
Ok, podemos?
Ok.
Tranquilo. Bem, quando for para começar então. Acho que já é. Ok. So, here we are. I am casting with my friend Racine. This time because Edu, not because Edu, because Ruben is going to play this game. It's going to be an interesting game. We're going to have Ruben versus Yunfeng Li. Yunfeng is playing this Lapras Dusclops team that is quite common as a core. We're also seeing a couple other Pokemon like Hitmontop, Gigalith, and very prevalent Togekiss and Excadrill. On Ruben's side, we have a team, a bit more different team. We have a Trick Room setup, clearly, with Gyarados and Persian on Ruben's side. I'd love to see how this is going to go. So
Yeah, that looks like a pretty unconventional team, to be honest. It's not we see every day that we play online. So I'm really curious to what he does with it.
yeah, I think we're gonna have like a really interesting matchup here. I think Yanfeng's team is certainly more standard, if you will. But I think Ruben has an interesting comp, and I'd really like to see where this game is gonna go, because I think we have everything in place to have like a great match here.
Yeah, certainly. I also feel that the Hitmontop might be a Rubens, given that it's a really good support.
Yeah, it is. I think
Who's
we
going
can.
to deal
I
with
think
it.
the Hitmontop is gonna help a lot dealing with that Snorlax that with that Rhyperior, and you always like wonder what set the Snorlax will bring. Is it gonna be like the Belly Drum set? Is it gonna be the Curse set? Is it gonna be that weird Yawn set that we've been seeing recently? I think Edu popularized it with like Yawn and Seed Bomb and Curse, and yeah, it's always a fun Pokemon to cast. It's really versatile, and it's always been around since like 2017 or something, and it clearly shows that it's still a great Pokemon. Still having the addition that it might be Gigantamax as well, and we do not know that. But yeah, definitely like a really interesting game in the making here. Okay, so we're going to go into the team preview now. So when the game starts, the game should start soon, and we should see the image. So Racine, tell me, what are you expecting from both these players? What do you think we're gonna see in this first match?
So I'm not honest. Like I expect Rubens to be like to give like a match, but like since his team is clearly like it must have a lot of techs that Yunfeng might not be prepared. Yunfeng's team, like it's certainly like and team.
Yeah,
and Sand is always annoying to face.
Yeah, definitely. We have like the Sand Gigalith Excadrill combo. But we also have like a really cool comp on the side of Ruben that I think will come out. The Trick Room setup and the Snorlax with the Rhyperior as well, which we can assume is a weakness policy variant. I think it could cause a lot of troubles for that Lapras. And I think we're going to go into the game now. So let's get ready, guys. And here we go. So we're going to have Ruben versus Yunfeng Li. And these are the leads. Let's see what our trainers have brought out, Ryson.
Yeah, let's see like what they bring out and how the game develops.
Yunfeng opens with this like usual lead with Dusclops and Lapras, probably trying to set up that Trick Room and that G-Max Resonance, trying to protect his team. And Ruben just goes for this double cat comp, I guess, with Sylveon and Persian. Persian can always go for that fake out, maybe go for that parting shot it usually carries, maybe try to slow down the Lapras before he even starts playing. And the Sylveon is always opponent threat offensively, right? So we have to see how this develops. The Lapras protects first turn. Persian goes immediately for a taunt and stops
Yeah,
that
that's
Trick Room from
that's
going
a
up.
really good
That's huge.
play. And Mystical Fire. He's like
that's huge. That's a huge first turn for Ruben. He just stops the Trick Room, and now that Lapras is like in a weird spot where he can just get parting shotted by the Persian, and it will slow down a lot, and all it can do is put up that Aurora Veil, right? But Sylveon will just be able to throw out those Hyper Voices, and we see Lapras switching out actually.
Thing has to think like how he is, because he cannot waste the Dynamax, Mon, or Gmax if he's going to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
We see the Snarl.
Oh, the Snarl coming out. I wonder if that Hitmontop is eject button, because it just got it. Maybe it will go out. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So it is an eject button. It's gonna go out as soon as it came in. I don't think Yangfeng was expecting that. I think he was seeing like the parting shot coming or something maybe.
No,
Not expecting the instant damage, or maybe just wanting to like bring the Lapras back out again. But we'll have to see how it goes. So we see the Hyper Voice doing actually a really decent chunk on both the Dusclops and the Lapras, and the Nightshade on Persian just chunking him a bit, which is always good, you know.
I feel like that the Dusclops might be physically defensive if the Sylveon was able to do that much damage.
Yeah. That's a really fair assumption actually, because the Dusclops got like what's that, like 30-35% chunk of his health.
Yeah,
and that's like a lot of pressure at the start as well on the Lapras, not only on the Dusclops, if we think about it. So that taunt is almost wearing off probably, and I wonder what Ruben will do here. We're probably going to see the Dynamax on the Lapras now, the Gigantamax actually.
Yeah, I feel like a Yawn would help Ruben immensely right now.
Yeah, we don't know if he carries it, but definitely I think the Yawn would be great on that Lapras right now. Just slow it down with Snarls as well. Just cut down the damage. There we go. We saw the Snarl coming out. We keep seeing the Snarl going up. Just keep the Lapras under control. Maybe Yawn the Lapras as well. There we go. Now Lapras is in a really tough spot, and you're gonna get a useless Gigantamax probably for the next 2-3 turns. All it did is it set up Aurora Veil and that KO'd the Persian pretty much with a crit.
It's a critical.
Yeah. That was
mattered.
looking for like a lot of damage. That definitely mattered. Yeah. But I don't think it's the end of the world for Ruben. I think he's in a really good spot. He has his Dynamax up. The Lapras is completely under control under a Snarl and a Yawn, so I don't know what the Lapras will need to do here. We're gonna see the Rhyperior coming out, huge threat to that Lapras actually. Now I don't think Yanfeng wants to set up that Trick Room, but he's in a really weird spot where he's just gonna keep getting chunked by this Sylveon, right, and kept under control by this Yawn as well. Maybe the Mystical Fire could come out as well, just to slow down the Lapras even a bit more. Maybe he's just gonna chunk both the Pokemon, and I think Rhyperior is gonna come out over here and just start dealing a lot of pressure into Yangfeng's team.
Definitely, and I'm not sure if this turn or has it all done. The Rhyperior is going to be a massive problem. Although Yunfeng probably bring out that Hitmontop to cycle Intimidates.
Definitely, yeah. Ruben just throws out the Rock Cracker into that Dusclops slot and yawns it as well. Maybe just keep it under control again, you know, just chunk it a bit more. Yeah. Both of Yangfeng's Pokemon are getting like really chunked now. But also that G-Max Geyser just destroys this Rhyperior who hangs on with his Focus Sash.
Yeah,
and, it's not a weakness policy variant, you know. We know that now, but Rhyperior will probably be slower, I think, than the Lapras. Yeah. So it's definitely a threat to that Gigantamax, but I don't think Yangfeng cares anymore. Like the Lapras did what they had to do, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Lapras is doing night right now, so it's not gonna do much at the moment, and those clubs might switch again. So I feel like the play for Yunfeng is to bring Hitmontop.
Yeah, we know he has the Hitmontop in the back. And he goes for Pain Split, actually, just chunks that Sylveon down. I wonder... There's still no Dynamax on the side of Ruben. I think he's just being very conservative with it. Of course, the Rhyperior would never do it because he needed to recharge his turn, but... there we go. Both of Yunfeng's Pokemon are asleep now. And Rhyperior is in a decent spot, I think.
Yeah, Lapras woke up moment, and I don't know, the Protect.
Yeah, I don't think Ruben can afford to Dynamax this Rhyperior, because if the Hitmontop comes in, he can just fake out and get that one damage out of Lapras, and he's dead, you know? The Lapras is really slow, by the way. And we noticed that last turn it's slower than the Rhyperior, I think, from what I've seen on the screen, which is weird. There we go. It's really slow. It's way slower than the Rhyperior, and that's interesting to me, because either Ruben's Rhyperior is fast or the Lapras is really slow. And there we go.
Yeah.
One more chunk with that Hyper Voice. The Lapras wakes up. Rhyperior is gone, but I think Ruben, now is the time to Dynamax your Pokemon, try and get some advantage for when Trick Room ends, and maybe sweep with this Gyarados, that we probably know can take over games, if not the post. And there's no electric type coverage on the team of Yunfeng, unless that Lapras carries something like a Thunderbolt or something.
But even then, Gyarados, no. Is it Sylveon?
Not a Thunderbolt.
No, it's Gyarados, and Gyarados has like a really good bulk on the special side, so we know that it wouldn't KO right away. Unless for a critical.
Right away, right? Yeah. Oh, and again, he goes for Rock Tomb on his own Lapras, making it slower again. I don't. Oh, he wants to activate the weakness policy, right? That's really smart, actually.
Yeah.
That is a bit... Wow.
That
That is really well played, actually. He just chunked Ruben really hard right there, and that's his last turn. Not his last turn, sorry. His first turn as a Dynamax, and he's already chunked to 25 health, or 26, I think. But this Gyarados reveals the Moxie, which it already did because it didn't intimidate. But if Ruben can get this Gyarados going, maybe it's his win condition to actually take over this game. Because Gyarados is actually ridiculous if you let it stack boosts, because it will just start one-shotting thing after thing, right? And especially if it gets like Airstreams going outside of Trick Room. Though against Yunfeng's team, I don't think he needs that. What do you think is going to happen now, Rasim? I think you deceived?
I feel like Ruben needs to play smart and see how this turns, because it's not over, and Yunfeng can.
Okay, I definitely think Ruben needs to play a bit safer here. Yeah, and just protect this Gyarados. You need to make sure that you get out of Trick Room with your Gyarados alive, so your Gyarados can take over the game. I think Gyarados can win the game as soon as Trick Room is over. So this is really like there you go. Trick Room is over, so now Gyarados can definitely take over, and that Hitmontop is really not gonna enjoy taking those hyper voices as well, right?
No, but
I think Ruben might be in a really good position to win this.
Yeah, he does. He just needs to take out that.
I like how Ruben's going for a max Airstream here, just covering the options.
Oh
my god, okay, that's a Sucker Punch variant on Hitmontop, and now Ruben is pretty much gone.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's really rough. I don't think he expected The sucker punch. I didn't personally. I didn't expect the sucker punch.
Yeah, sucker punch is a move that you wouldn't really expect on Hitmontop, but
Yeah.
it does it. It's really helpful.
And if the Excadrill is less, that's just game over there for Ruben. That would have been actually a really good comeback with the Gyarados. You could have swept through the team. Just if you got the airstream that we saw Ruben select as a move, he could have airstreamed the whatever Pokemon was left. I think he would airstream the Lapras first, and then a single target Hyper Voice with Sylveon. I think he would KO both, and then Gyarados would instantly be faster than the Excadrill. Excadrill could never KO both Sylveon and Gyarados, so he would always lose, and that would be a really good comeback for Ruben. I think Ruben definitely has a chance to win this. Now having a bit more info about Yunfang's team, he knows the Lapras is a weakness policy. He knows he knows the Hitmontop has Sucker Punch. He knows that Dusclops has a Rock Tomb, so he now has the tools to navigate around the Yunfang's strategy while trying to still make sure his strategy works. That I think he almost did this first game, so I'm really excited to see the second and third games.
One thing that I feel Ruben should be careful is Lapras setting up the rain, because that's like what's helped Yunfeng in a way, since he has Hydration Lapras and cured the sleep status immediately in the next turn.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That is a really good point, and I forgot that because that's a really good point you just made. I completely overlooked that, and then Ruben's Yon doesn't really have a point, right? Because he will just set up the rain, and you don't sleep pretty much, and I guess the Lapras will have free reign to do whatever it did. I think the idea to control with Persian is good. And there we go. We got into the game again. So let's see. Ruben starts with the same lead, which I think is correct. I don't think it was a lead problem. I think Ruben led really well.
Yeah.
We see a really good adaptation here from Yunfang actually, with both the Excadrill and the Hitmontop having that fake out pressure, having that Steel Spike maybe coming out, getting some defense boosts. Who knows? We know that boosted Excadrill is really scary. And might be rough to deal with, right?
Yeah, I think Ruben might need to switch to Gyarados there to deal with the Excadrill. Since it's probably Dynamaxing.
I think that Excadrill is probably Dynamaxing. Yeah, I don't think so. No, we didn't see it come out. But it stays on the field, so I wonder what that Excadrill is going to do. Maybe it's going for trying for an attack on that Sylveon or something. But the Sylveon protects, so it's pretty much a null turn because the fake out came out onto the Persian slot. So I think this turn, the Excadrill either has to do something or get out of the field. Not the Excadrill, sorry, the Hitmontop, because the Hitmontop really isn't doing anything there. We both know this Persian really doesn't want to stay on the field that much, to be honest, right now. It can't really snarl anything. We know Ruben has snarl. Its fake out pressure is gone. I don't think it had parting shot from what we saw in Ruben's moves. This Persian maybe doesn't want to stay on the field, take a close combat or something from that Hitmontop. And there you go, the Hitmontop comes out, right? The Dusclops comes in, probably trying to get that Trick Room setup going. Let's see what Ruben does. He actually takes out Sylveon. And the Sylveon goes into Gyarados, which is nice because Gyarados resists Excadrill. Persian goes for that Icy Wind, which is actually really good thing to do here because he would always activate that Hitmontop's Jack button, and you could always take it out of the field. Make sure that Excadrill is slower than your Gyarados to get the Gyarados in to take that hit for Sylveon, right? And now you can try and take over the game with this Moxie Gyarados And maybe with the taunt on that Dusclops, just keep trying to not let the Dusclops set up Trick Room and do Young Fang's team do what it wants to do, right?
Yeah, I think he's playing really well in this game as well, since like what cost him was that critical hit on the first game.
Yeah.
We see here like the Hitmontop and the Intimidate.
I wonder if this Hitmontop would take like a. It probably would take a Max Geyser from that Gyarados, because if it did, the Gyarados could just snowball with that with like a KO on Hitmontop, and since he just taunted the Dusclops, you would see that the Gyarados would take over the game. But what you see right now is that waterfall going into that into that Hitmontop slot. It's a jack button procs and it goes out, giving Young Fang the option to bring the Hitmontop back into the game. Maybe just keep intimidating that Gyarados, keep it under control, you know. Don't let it snowball, because that is Ruben's win condition.
He did a really smart play by not Dynamite.
Yeah, definitely.
If he did, he would have set up the train, and he wouldn't have yawned that Lapras if it came out. So, playing smart here.
It's interesting that we see this this Snorlax has yawn, like the variant I told you at the beginning of the game. But here we see the Hitmontop going back into the field, getting that Intimidate on Gyarados, as I said. But Ruben smartly takes the Gyarados back, knowing this was probably coming. Really well played. Brings out the Snorlax. Persian goes for a foul play into that Hitmontop slot, which does a fair bit of damage, actually. The Hitmontop's pretty chunked right now. And I think that is a really important thing for Ruben. Don't let this Hitmontop get a free switch in. Don't let this Hitmontop just come into the game and control your Gyarados, because, again, as I said, you want to win off of that, right? You want to keep this Gyarados as a threat to your opponent, because, to be honest, Gyarados can sweep Young Fang's entire team. And we've seen 3 of the 4 Pokemon right now, which are Dusclops, Excadrill, and Hitmontop. We can probably be sure enough that the last one is Lapras, right?
Probably is. If Dusclops is in the field, then Lapras might be in the back. Otherwise, he would have Dynamaxed the Excadrill. And
Definitely.
we see like
that's a really good close combat. Does 75% of Snorlax's health mostly. Snorlax goes for the yawn on that Dusclops, trying to again just keep the Dusclops under control. Don't let it snowball. Don't let it do what it wants. The Rock Tomb comes out into the Gyarados slot, which is actually good. It stops the Gyarados from snowballing, but now there's no taunt on that Dusclops anymore. I wonder if he wants to go for the Trick Room, knowing that the Dusclops is gonna be asleep next turn, and maybe at least he can bring Lapras in, right?
Yeah, I think he does want to go like for that Trick Run. There is a strong possibility that Ruben goes Max Airstream to increase its speed, but he also has other options as well.
I think it's rough for Ruben here, actually, because even if Ruben knocks out that Hitmontop, right? If he brings in the Lapras, right, there you go. If he brings in the Lapras and he Trick Rooms, now the Lapras is in a really good position to pressure that Gyarados, right?
It is, but we might see like what Gyarados does.
Yeah, because if he goes for that Power Whip, so imagine this: if he uses the Power Whip, assuming that it would already KO the Hitmontop on that Lapras slot, it will be a huge chunk of that. And there we go. That's a max overgrowth. I assume that goes into the Lapras slot. There we go. That's gonna do a lot, actually. Oh my lord, that is like 75% of Lapras' health is damage. And now this Lapras can't just really go for a Dynamax, because yes, it has its weakness policy up, but it's a 50-50, right? The yawn has come out from Ruben also predicting that the Lapras is in. So Lapras will have to use the...
And he didn't go for the Trick Room.
Yeah, he didn't go for
That's
the trick. So, oh my god, that is a really good turn for Ruben. So imagine this now. Um, Lapras is not faster. It has like 25% of its health left. Um, so I think we can assume he'll Dynamax the Excadrill, right? This Dusclops is now asleep, which really isn't gonna help Youngfang at all. Ruben can probably take a KO here on whatever goes into that left slot, on that right slot, sorry, on Lapras' slot, right? Ruben probably wants to get like 1 or 2 airstreams going. Maybe make sure that you're still faster than that
Excadrill.
Excadrill, exactly. Get those airstreams going, because if you do get 1 or 2 Moxie boosts, you win. You know, you just win in this position, because Gyarados will sweep your team, as we said.
You think sacrifice the Lapras?
Yeah, exactly. And Ruben does go for that airstream, making sure that at least the next max airstream he does, he will be faster than that Excadrill, for sure. Because he took a Rock Tomb. I'm not sure if Ruben is faster or slower than the Excadrill right now.
Is the Persian faster?
The Persian's faster, yeah. I think we saw that. I don't know the exact spread of Ruben, but I think we did see that the Persian was faster. I think the order was like Persian, then Hitmontop, then Persian, Hitmontop. No, Persian, Excadrill, Hitmontop, something. The Sylveon that was in the field.
Faster.
Yeah,
Then Ruben is in like a terrific and just Max Kaiser. The
Ruben is in a
Excadrill.
weird spot now, but think about this: does that Excadrill have a rock move that it can hit Gyarados with? Because if it doesn't, you're gone, right? You're gone.
If he gets hit, but
have
then
nothing
like he
to
could
hit.
like Icy Wind.
Yeah, he could. He could definitely do that, because if he's faster than the Excadrill, that's a really good point. I forgot the new speed mechanics also work with that, and Icy Wind hasn't really been any. We haven't really seen any Icy Wind C play, but here comes a Hitmontop. I think it's gonna get by Ruben easily.
Yeah, he might die.
The Icy Wind is definitely gonna come out, but that's gonna still be a rough spot for Ruben now, because if he does Dynamax the Excadrill, the Excadrill will be in a weird spot where it's still fast, where it's still stronger than that Gyarados, and I would actually like to see the boosts, because I kind of lost count of where the boosts were. But I think the Gyarados is at +1 if he KOs this Hitmontop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, +1, right? So he now has a rain boost on top of he's always gonna be faster than that Excadrill. So this is gonna get really scary for Youngfang right here. One thing we have to wonder is, does that Dusclops have Ally Switch, right? Because I think we've seen 3 moves. Rock Tomb, we saw Trick Room, and we saw Nightshade. So what's the 4th one, right?
Could have very well Ally Switch.
So maybe he's hiding the Ally Switch, predicting this this situation, and now Ruben is in a weird spot where, does he have to call the Ally Switch, right?
Probably does. Like, it would then, like, if he does call it wrong, then that is in a bad position. The thing is, like, the Chinese team has done the same in the like friendly,
Yeah.
where they would like save the ally switch for the last turns of the match, or
Well,
use it or use the move.
Yeah. Let's see one thing though. Excadrill does have to, not Excadrill. Dusclops does have to wake up here, regardless. I think he's been asleep for like 3 turns now. This turn included, he's been asleep for like 3 turns. So ally switch is definitely a possibility here. If he does wake up, he doesn't. He protects into that waterfall, which is fine. Dusclops is asleep still, but it doesn't seem like it has ally switch because it had no priority, right? Did not show any priority, and I think Ruben was trying to scout for that. He was trying to scout like, if he does get like a priority right now, maybe he does have ally switch and he's trying to protect that Excadrill. But it seems it doesn't, and Ruben definitely has the game here because all you have to do is fall play waterfall that spot probably, that Excadrill slot, or maybe even Icy Wind. Probably the Icy Wind would be the smarter play here, and then you fall play next turn if you really need it. He tries to double protect, he fails. The Icy Wind comes out, and I think Ruben wins this game now.
Yeah, he doesn't have ally switch, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't that surprising. But then what is the fourth move on that Dusclops, right? Did we see it? I don't think we did.
No, we haven't.
I think we haven't seen the fourth move.
He could still there still could be like the chance that he has ally switch and just used.
Yeah, do you think he might be hiding it for the third game? I mean, I'm already in a bad spot in this game. It's unlikely that I'm gonna win, even if I KO that Gyarados, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I hide ally switch for the third game, sorry, maybe I have another tool to play with, right?
Like the thing it needs to be understood. Like when you play with ally switch, you could.
Yes, give us a masterclass on ally switch, Ryzen. Please give us a masterclass on ally switch.
You could use it on the first turn of game 1, and you could have yourself a lot of time. But then you actually, if you use it once, you need to play it really carefully because it's a 50-50. Because the opponent might call the move out, but then he doesn't.
Right. Like if you have the Pokemon on the field, just you're threatening ally switch, and your opponent, if you use it once, your opponent knows you have it, right?
Yeah.
So you always have to be mindful of your opponent knowing, and that you're gonna play a coin flip, right? Where he actually it's Schrodinger's ally switch, right? It's either there or it's not, until proven otherwise. But when you do prove it's there, damn dude.
Sometimes the opponent might go for like the obvious play. So when he doesn't go for the obvious play and you don't ally switch, as if you're throwing the game out.
Yeah.
It's on both sides. But if you hide ally switch really well and leave it until like the last game or the second game, and it's like tricky.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking, because I think he might be hiding this for that third game. Because if you think about it, he has no good move to put there, right? If he had Will-O-Wisp, he probably would have Will-O-Wisp the Gyarados. If he had something else, he probably would have used it. But there we go. We are going into the third game. We're going to see how this match ends. It's been a really fun match so far. And I think Ruben adapted really well to the second game. I think Ruben only has to keep going with the same lead. The same 4. It's good. The Gyarados still sweeps, and we see Yongfang going for that Togekiss and that Dusclops. That is scary for Ruben because he can't really just taunt the Dusclops now. And that Trick Room is pretty much guaranteed, right?
Yeah, but he could also be like Crit Kiss. That wouldn't.
Yeah, it could, but it would still have follow me in this comp, right? I think we can assume that he does want to set that Trick Room up, and we do see Ruben just pulling up that Dusclops, not that Dusclops, sorry, that Persian, bringing in the Sylveon, which is a bit slow and still a threat. But there we go. That's a Dynamax. That's a straight up Dynamax from Yongfang. Is that on Togekiss? It's a Togekiss. Yeah, it's a Togekiss. So maybe it is a crit Togekiss. I think you were correct, Chris.
Yeah,
good call there.
But I really feel that Yongfang wants to wrap this up as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
and that's a really good
bounce. That is actually smart because, oh my god, Ruben is a genius. And now that Sylveon can actually kind of threaten the Mystical Fire or the Yawn or the Togekiss, and he's still keeping the Gyarados safe, but it's still scary. Because if that Gyarados gets KO'd, I think Ruben loses. Oh my god, Gyarados
He,
hangs on. I don't think that was a crit. Or he
I
would have
think
been knocked out. Yeah, that Gyarados needs to get out of the field ASAP, I think.
he's going for the yawn on the Togekiss, and yeah.
And there we go,
Start
the
now.
Nightshade on that. Oh my lord, that Gyarados is gonna hang on with 6 HP because Nightshade always does those 50 damage. That is
Needs to
scary.
change.
That is scary for Ruben because that is your main threat to his team, to Youngfang's team,
Yeah.
right? You need
Needs to
it
change.
to sweep the Excadrill. If you do not destroy that Excadrill will destroy you. It's pretty much they're like opposites on each other's team, I guess. Ruben's Gyarados and Youngfang's Excadrill. Let's see what Ruben. And Youngfang actually pulls out the Togekiss. That's interesting. So Youngfang just decided his Dynamax wasn't really worth it. I am very confused by Youngfang's play. I'm not gonna lie.
I think he was pressured to do something, and since he was going to get sleep, he decided it was better. But now he loses the Hitmontop.
He's not gonna lose the Hitmontop, but that tracked your Hitmontop a lot, right? And this Gyarados is just gonna either get KO'd by this Dusclops, which I think Ruben is fine with because he let the Dusclops Nightshade him. I'm very confused now, actually, because Ruben has to try and keep this Lapras under control and he wins, right? Because I think we saw he has no Excadrill this game.
And the thing is, he doesn't have Dynamax anymore, so Ruben could potentially afford to for bounce.
Yeah,
he goes like the Trick Room.
Ruben got that flinch, which actually saved his Gyarados, right? Which is a bit. Oh, dude. I don't know if Ruben didn't put the free switch in there, actually, because I think Ruben was counting that the Gyarados would be KO'd and you could bring in something like the Snorlax that we saw he has in the back. And maybe start a sweep with the Dynamax Snorlax, something like that. But that did not end up happening. And there we go. That's a really huge crit on the Dusclops. That's really good damage. I think the Dusclops is gonna want to KO the Gyarados. No, it goes for Trick Room. And now that's actually really good for Youngfang because we know he has that Rock Tomb, right?
Yeah.
That Lapras is gonna do a lot of damage. That Lapras is gonna do a lot of damage. It's not Dynamax, but it's still a 2-stage increase on that special attack. I think Ruben can still play around it, right? Like try and Snarl, try and Mystical Fire, and then there's really no threats on Youngfang's team to deal with this, like the Snorlax or something. That is definitely gonna Dynamax and start KOing things, right?
Yeah. The thing I'm looking at is as soon as the field disappears, Ruben could go immediately for that yawn, and Youngfang wouldn't.
Oh, that's interesting. He did not go for that Rock Tomb. He did not go for the Rock Tomb. So he's just playing it safe. Ruben goes for the Hyper Voice again. Does a fair chunk on Lapras, fair chunk on Dusclops. And I wonder what Ruben is going to bring in. That's very interesting. That is a really interesting turn for Ruben to play now. Because what can Ruben do to play around that Lapras inside the Trick Room? He can bring in the Snorlax, sure. But we kind of need to see what it can do, right? We know it has a bit of a weird moveset. It's not the end of the world at all. But Dusclops can't really Pain Split forever. I don't think he wins anything by Pain Splitting in this position. I think he can Rock Tomb the Lapras for sure. Proc that Weakness Policy, maybe threaten a bit the Snorlax. What do you think?
The thing I am seeing is that now that Lapras is not Dynamax, it might be a bit of a problem because it could take a good chunk of life. So, and Snorlax is slower than Lapras, definitely.
Yeah, I wonder if after Rock Tomb he still is slower. Probably, yeah, right?
I mean, Flops slower than Snorlax.
Okay, so let's just see how it goes. We do see the Dynamax on the Snorlax, which I think is the correct play from Ruben. Just try and use your Snorlax to sweep. I don't think Lapras is going to do a lot to it, even with weakness policy up. And you could always just try and hyper voice a bit, and then chunk the Lapras on the last turn. He does Pain Split with that Snorlax. It's not huge damage on the Lax, to be honest, and that Max Knuckle is gonna do at least decent damage on that Lapras. Oh my lord, that is actually a lot of damage. I expect that.
Yeah, can't go for like the can't go for like the Rock Tomb. I mean,
Yeah.
the weakness policy is procced, but still.
Oh, he does Hydro Pump into that Protect slot. That Lapras does not did not do anything so far, right? It did not do anything significant besides killing that KOing. Sorry, that Gyarados, which pretty much was already KO'd, right? It was just hanging on the field, right? So, oh my god, I think Ruben wins this now because that Snorlax is gonna be a beast, right? It's gonna be an absolute monster right now.
And the clock switches out.
Like the Togekiss will eventually fall, right? Even if you can just yawn it and stall it out, let the Sylveon do its thing when the field's out, right?
Yeah, I think Ruben is in position right now because his opponent didn't reveal ally switch.
Yeah, I don't think I like this Max Strike from Ruben. I don't think I like it. I think he could have gone for the Knuckle again and just gotten the KO, got the boost, and got this Snorlax really rolling. Because if you do get that boost, if you get like 2 boosts or something, and you start like Max Darknessing that Dusclops, which we did see it does have, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're done, right? You win. You can go home
in a
happy.
really good spot.
What? Sorry, I couldn't understand you.
Ruben is in a really good. He just needs to KO the Hitmontop.
Yeah, definitely. And now we're gonna see the taunt come out on that Dusclops, and I think that Dusclops is gonna have to switch out again, right?
Yeah. So
I wonder if Ruben was expecting like a Togekiss switch in or something, because the Knuckle wouldn't do enough. Maybe that's why he went for it, you know. And now we do see the Max Strike on this Hitmontop. He's gone. Youngfang is in a really rough spot here. It might still be doable with the Kiss, you know. Togekiss has been known for being actually a really strong Pokemon, you know. Who knew? But Trick Room should be ending. Did it already end?
Yeah, sure. It's already finished.
Yeah, it finished. So the Persian is just gonna snarl this Togekiss into its next life, right? Because it really isn't gonna do any damage with those snarls up. The Snorlax can probably just go for those yawns, and I think this one's over, dude.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Unless Chris like wakes up and starts creating everything.
And
but
if you think about it, all you have to do is conserve the Snorlax to make sure that you do KO that Dusclops when the time comes, right? Because that's all you have to do. That Togekiss is gonna fall. It's really not. It's just a matter of time, right?
Oh,
Another void.
Can't really go for like the Trick Room because that would be game over.
No, he's taunted, so he would never even be able to go for the Trick Room. But we see that Nightshade coming out into that Persian slot. I actually think yawning that Dusclops might be better now. Like you snarl and then you yawn the Dusclops because you know it will not be able to stop your snarls. You just snarl this Togekiss to -6 while the Clops is asleep and you're gone, right?
Definitely. I think either way,
then again,
Ruben
yeah. It did.
Ruben
Do
wins.
talk. Sorry. And we do see the Snarl coming out. There we go.
Yeah.
Togekiss is now gonna do a bit less damage. I wonder if it does KO Dispersion. It has a Rosalie Berry, so it's gonna take less damage from that Dazzling Loop. It does hang on with like a sliver of health, but maybe that Nightshade's gonna finish off that Persian, right?
Yeah. Ruben is in a good spot. Doesn't
That's
do
a
much.
Rock Tomb. Why would he?
We're trying to
Nightshade?
like.
Oh, Nightshade's Ghost type. Never mind. I think he expected that Dazzling Gleam to KO the Persian actually there, because I thought he would double the Persian slot, calling the Rosalie Berry, because it's it's common, right? It's common that you have that Rosalie Berry, and we do see Ruben has that self-destruct. That is gonna be scary. That is gonna be really scary for Yongfang. I think Ruben is just waiting for this Persian to be KO'd so he can bring in the Sylveon and protect. Maybe after the Togekiss is a bit more chunked, and Togekiss is gone instantly, right? So I think Sylveon just wins after that.
Need
Right?
to understand that would say crit Snorlax.
Yeah, he did crit the Snorlax, but Snorlax is still around. Even if he does Nightshade, I think Snorlax lives. I think he's 51 HP. No, he's 34. Never mind. But he does have that berry. He does have that berry. He's gonna put some pressure into that Dusclops slot. That is decent damage, you know. That is decent. You take those. You definitely take those. But now, Snorlax can't really get crit again. He can't really afford that. And Dusclops is asleep now. That's really bad. Really, really bad for Yongfang. I think the best play right now is just you can't Nightshade Snorlax, right? I forgot that. You're totally right. But I think the best play right now is just try and take out that Togekiss and deal with the Dusclops later. I don't think the Togekiss is threatening Snorlax enough. With him asleep, right?
Because the Togekiss could crit like both, despite the Togekiss being at -2, because are the annoying part of it.
Like Togekiss is really not gonna do enough damage unless it crits, and even then I don't think it would KO the Snorlax. Maybe it would. I'm not sure. Based on the damage that we've seen, that's a crit on Sylveon.
Yeah,
that's a crit on both actually, and yeah, it did not KO that Snorlax. And oh my god, that is not enough damage on that. Ruben is in a rough spot now actually. That is gone at least.
I needed to put the Togekiss to sleep as soon as he had it.
Yeah, Togekiss might actually carry this. It's a single target Hyper Voice now, but it really cannot get crit. It just can't, right?
Yeah, he can't.
He can't get crit. If he does get crit, he's gone, right?
Yeah, definitely. Let's hope.
He does get crit on both, and there we go. And Ruben does lose this game, which oh man, that's rough. That's really rough. I think Ruben had it.
Yeah, he had it. Like
I think he had it. Yeah, he definitely had it. I think all he had to do was yawn the Sylveon, the Togekiss.
Yeah,
a couple turns earlier, and you had the game, right?
Yeah.
I think Ruben played better than Yongfang. I think he threw the game at the end, but definitely a great game for.
It was a really good game, and Ruben managed to adapt himself into the game, into the set, basically. But that is, I feel like he didn't deserve that result because he showed that he had much more adaptability than Yunfeng. We're seeing great stuff on these friendly. so far.
Like he really had to yawn earlier, right? Like we said, that was rough, but great game from both again. I think Young Fang's team is creative. I think if the Excadrill, I don't know if he should have brought the Excadrill this game. I know the Togekiss won him the game, but I don't think Togekiss was the play. He like Dynamaxed the Togekiss and instantly regretted. I don't know if he was trying just to set up the Misty Terrain and stop the yawns from coming out, but then the Lapras comes out and it doesn't do a lot either. So it's a bit sad that Ruben didn't just go for that yawn, but uh, sometimes it
These things
happens.
happens
Sometimes, sometimes it happens. And when you're playing, it's way easier to see the play when you're watching the game than playing the game.
Mhm.
So yeah, definitely well played from both, and definitely really really excited to see the next games.
Yeah, everything. If it's like as good as what we saw right now, then this should be a fun afternoon.
Yeah, it's
Honestly,
gonna be a fantastic game for sure. Fantastic afternoon of games for sure, definitely. So
let's.
I think we are done with this game. But
Yeah,
what did you think? What do you think of Portugal so far with Ruben's performance? What do you think,
uh,
Gijzen?
Portugal like a really good level. I'm being honest. Ruben played that perfectly, just like at the end, and Yunfeng had the luck of crit case in his sides. So just that Ruben needed to control that turns earlier.
What did you think of Young Fang's team? I thought it was a nice twist. We usually see the sand
Mm-hmm.
teams with like the Excadrill and the Tyranitar, and now we saw it with the Gigalith, even though we didn't even see it
Mm-hmm.
coming to play. I thought it was just a bit weak to that Gyarados, but it was a fun team. I enjoyed seeing it play. Um, Man, that crit kiss was insane. Actually, it
That
completely carried the game in the later stages.
case is not. You need to have something to really hit it hard, or something that can control it. It's crit
Yeah.
case, and crit case does stuff that crit.
Okay, so guys, we are going to turn off this stream for now. We're going to move into Eduardo's channel. I'm gonna link it here. I think I can do it. I don't think Ruben stops me from linking Edu's stream. It is in the chat. I just linked it. We're gonna move to Eduardo's stream, and we will see you in a couple of minutes.